So hi everybody, this is Ronnie and today is Wednesday and we have on Wednesday our show Learn from the Best. Today we are here with Andrés Piñeiro, who is an Instagram influencer. Hello Andrés.
Hello Ronnie and everyone from Fair Trade.
Hi, so very cool. Today is going to be a little bit different. Andrés is not our regular guest on the show. He's not involved in the fair trade industry, though he is a change maker. And we would like to learn a little bit more today about influencer marketing with Andrés, who is doing it. He's an influential marketer. So can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody. So my name is Andrés, as you mentioned, and I've been doing this of influencer marketing for more than 5 years. What is influencer marketing? So influencer marketing is to have someone, most of the time is someone or a group of people, that their values are super aligned with another brand. So imagine like all of my values are aligned with one of the brands that you have. Then it makes sense for me to use your product or for me to talk about your product or in a way show your product from my point of view, because my fan base, like all of the people that follow me, that they have been following me in different places of social media, they will be aligned with what I do, and as a consequence they will be aligned with what you guys want to show. Or so influencer marketing is using one person or an entity, most of the time a person, that they already have a big fan base, to show your product through the eyes of that person.
Okay, very cool. So it's basically capitalizing on the attention that you are already getting with a specific niche of people that you are talking to on a regular basis through your Instagram or Facebook, and then leverage that attention that you get from the brands, from your audience, and push this towards the brands, right?
Yeah, exactly. In a way in an organic or supposedly organic way. Like, I don't know, like I use a hat, so this is something that I'm using because I like to use it. And that's the important thing. Something really key in influencer marketing is that like the influencer, the entity that is talking about it, it has to be aligned. If it's not aligned, it will not be authentic and marketing will take you nowhere.
Yeah, and it could not be forced. Like you cannot overdo it. Like if you are promoting a product, if it sounds too much like a commercial, then it won't be natural. It needs to be in the flow. Right. Good. So my first question is, how did you become an influencer?
Okay. So yeah, I think that's a question that a lot of people have because it's not easy. So one of the things is that I started without social media. I started doing really fun things for me outside of the digital world. I started with a concept which was get off the couch. I would encourage people to get off the couch, to do something different every day, like get out of the comfort zone, metaphorically speaking. So what I was doing is that for 1 month, I was doing something completely different every day with the hashtag get off the couch. But I was doing this just because I wanted to do something different, not really because it was like a marketing strategy. People start joining the movement, and at the end of the month, brands start joining the movement. What I realized is that people wanted different content. They wanted to do different things, and they wanted to see different things. And brands have a budget in order to experiment with different campaigns, or they believe in people and they need creativity. So I started doing this get off the couch, and the movement started growing when a lot of people joined, and they were following me on social media because they wanted to be part of the activities. Okay. They wanted to be part of the events, and brands started contacting me, saying like, hey, I would like you to use my product in a way that is super get off the couch, like super out of the comfort zone. So they started to provide my group of people, like everyone that wanted to join, to really cool activities. So to summarize that answer, I started with a concept. My concept was get off the couch. And through that concept, I was able to start having more people feeling like aligned with that concept. And as a consequence, brands.
Okay, very cool.
It stopped recording, no? Because it sounded like... No, it didn't stop.
No. We're still here. We're still live.
Okay.
Good. So... very cool. You started with a concept, with a hashtag. How long did it take you to build this community? And was there at some point an event or threshold that accelerated the growth?
Okay, that's really cool. So I did all South America on a budget, which means that I save everything that a 17-year-old kid can save. I saved like $2,000 and traveled around all South America. And when I came back to Panama, which is the country that I was raised, a friend of mine started noticing that in parties, a lot of people were asking me like, how was that backpacking trip? What was about? And my friend, her name is Puni, that's her nickname. She said like, you know what? Let's grab all of these questions that people are doing and let's go to colleges, let's go to universities, let's go to places, and let's talk about what you're doing because people are asking a lot about it. So I was like, oh, that sounds nice. So that was also branded through Get Off the Couch.
Okay.
And it was because of those activities, it was because of activities that we did outside of the digital world that people start following us on the digital world. So I do think like definitely the fact that Puni wanted to help me and she wanted to grab that concept and take it to universities helped a lot. But that's more like when you want to grow your social media, most of the times you have to think in two things, like in the people and the number of people and how you're gonna monetize that, because in my case I live through that. So it has to be sustainable. You cannot have just 3,000 follow or 30,000 followers or so many followers, but if none of them represent $1 for you, if you're not able to monetize that, you're gonna be working for nothing, and it's complex. So through Puni, through going to universities and activities and inviting people, is how my numbers start to grow. But it was through brands, like when brands started like experimenting with me, in which all of this movement was sustainable, and it made me click like, hey, I can really not only make money out of it, but I can also make my dreams come true with brands that are super aligned with me.
Right.
So those two things were key.
Okay. And you, well, just to give a little bit of numbers, because I realized we didn't do this in the beginning of the interview. You have roughly 50,000 followers on Instagram, or close to that, and you've been working with brands like Red Bull, Movistar, GoPro, Adidas, Smirnoff, Hyundai, Under Armour. So these are big brands. People who watch your content on Instagram, they follow you on Instagram, they might think, oh, it's easy. This guy is just traveling around the world and posting photos. How easy is this influencer job? Is it really easy, or do you work hard for it?
Okay, so I think it's really easy if you have the mindset that you want to do it for real. Like, that's the thing that differentiates people that do super good in social media than people that don't. I think that if you just want like 1 hour a day to care about your social media and something along that line, then it's going to be really difficult. But if you're super serious about it, and every time you do an activity you think in how I can take this to social media or something along that line, it's like anything, being an entrepreneur, like creating a business. Like if you're serious about it and consistent about it, it should strive with time. So in my case, the difficult part was making the click of taking it seriously. So it's more of a mindset, in my opinion, because information is out there online, or anyone can contact me and I have 3,000 tips or advice to give. So information is there. The thing is a mindset. Like, when are you going to take it for serious?
Right. And I imagine this taking it seriously represent a certain of hours every day that you work, right?
Yes, but not digital. That's really important. In my case, because I think there are so many different cases, my case is about doing things outside of the digital world. It's through activities, through inviting people, through doing network, like through things. I do so many cool things outside of the digital world that people that want to reach me, or people that want to be part of them, because everyone could be part of them, they have to reach me through social media. But social media is not the final goal. It's just like a way in which people can contact me. But it's what, like, creating an event or creating a really good idea, it's what's more about it. Yeah.
Okay, understood. Let's talk a little bit about your content. How do you generate so much content, and do you have someone with you who takes your photos? Because I saw a lot of photo of you, and obviously it's not a selfie. So how does it work?
Yeah, so I have the most amazing girlfriend slash fiance slash almost wife. We've been traveling for for around 3 years together, and she loves taking picture. But of course, I met her when I was already an influencer, so at the beginning it wasn't like that. So this is an advice that a lot of people will say, like, hey guys, you should not do that, but that's what I did and it worked for me. I work with a lot of people that they just wanted to help. So I would put in social media, hey, who wants to do this? And it would be like an intern. I would give advice. I was so super open with it. So in my case, before Danielle appeared in my life, I would ask people in social media, like, hey, I'm going to do cliff jumping with Red Bull or something along this line. Like, I'm going to do this event in this place with this activity. Is there someone that would love to join and take pictures?
Okay.
And people will join. So I was super transparent, like with creative, like with designers. I would say, like, hey, I need an art. Who wants to give me a hand or something along that line? And people would join because I would give them value always.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very important. If you give value, real value, just about taking, people will just jump in and communicate. We have the same with volunteers working with us. And
but it's super important, like if you are super open to interns and you just do it, like a lot of times if you don't explain what you want to do clearly, like interns will screw your time because they might not be efficient. So I think that once again, if you take it serious, it will have a good outcome. And if you just like, hey, give me a hand and you have to take pictures and that's it, you might end with pictures that you don't like.
For sure. You have to be professional. Also about the way you brief people, even though they are volunteers, the more precise the description and the more perfect the outcome would be. All right, next question. I want to ask you more question about your content. Do you take your photos with a professional camera or just with a smartphone? And do you edit these photos?
So it depends a lot. It depends a lot because I travel most of the year. So it always depends. Like when I'm traveling a lot, I cannot take a camera and things along that line. So I will just take pictures with a cell phone and that's it. But when I do have time to plan something, I do have like a camera and a drone and time to edit everything. So something that I want to be really, really clear is that the most important thing is not like how you do things. It's more about the concept, in my opinion. If you have a clear concept and the concept accepts like bad quality content, then that content is perfect because it's aligned with your concept. So for example, like a lot of people that follow me in social media, they know that I will not be modeling in any picture. Like I will not take a picture of 4 hours and edit it in Photoshop and things along that line. But they also know that I love like heights. I love to jump from waterfalls to the water and things along that line. So if I'm doing like a drone shot in a waterfall, something like that, I will take the time. My point is that there are concepts that they will demand high quality 24/7. But there are also concepts and people that are doing amazing in social media that they do like what we consider like low quality or shitty content, but because it's so aligned with the concept, it's perfect. So instead of thinking in the tools that you are going to use and all of that, I think it's the most important thing is that concept.
Right.
Like, what's the phrase that narrows everything and what characteristic that has and what's the do's and don'ts.
Yeah, it's very important, as you said, like if you can sum it up in one sentence, that means you are very clear with what you're doing and people will understand it. Great. How much per day, like how much time do you work on your social platforms? What is your main platform to reach your community? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in the social media, in the platform that I do the best, like it's Instagram. And I want to clarify, like how do I measure like doing the best? I do think that just followers is not the best way because there are so many ways of getting followers and all of that. So I think that the best way to measure if you're doing good or not is like responses to call to actions. Like the people that respond to your call to action, do they respond like because of your email campaigns or your Instagram or your Twitter or your YouTube or that? So I am extremely happy with how the people that follow me respond to my call to action. That's why I know that I'm successful because I've been living like, so it's pretty cool. The thing is that so Instagram is the one that gives me that opens more doors for my bigger goal. But definitely the platform that takes more time for me is YouTube, and it's the worst of my platforms. It's the one that I do the worst. The thing with YouTube is like I don't know, like everything requires different type of storytelling. So through Instagram, you're going to use pictures and text, most of the time pictures. But through YouTube, you have to do so many other things and like communities, algorithms, they work different. So I think that for every 4 hours that I put into YouTube, I receive like 2% of open opportunities. And on Instagram, I can just jump in 1 hour or less than an hour and receive an amazing like response to a call to action.
Okay, I see. I guess every platform has its own psychology and type of users. I think also people who are on Instagram are not necessarily the same people that are on YouTube. And one of the things, and this is something we try to communicate as much as we can, one of the big mistakes that many companies do is they create content and they post the same stuff on different platforms. They don't bother really crafting a different message for different platforms, but it's like when you go to different countries, you will speak the language of the country. You will not try to speak a universal language. Well, there are universal languages, but on social media it's different. Every platform has its own language. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's part of what I say like at the beginning of the interview is like it's part of the mindset. Yeah. Like if you're doing that, if you're sharing everything through different platforms that they share automatically everything, like it means that you're not taking it serious. Right. Like it means that that you're doing social media because in the newspaper you read like, hey, you have to do social media, and that's why you're doing it, but you haven't find the value for it. And I think that if you don't have a value for social media, like if you don't clearly understand what's the role of social media in your company, and you're not motivated to do it seriously, you might as well not even do it. Like if you are just sharing the same post everywhere, I think you have to stop and think like, what's the role of social media? And that's how you're gonna take it seriously, change the mindset, and do way better.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting what you said. Like some companies do social media because everybody else is doing it, and they don't know how to do it correctly, so they just produce content and push it. But no, there is more than that. Great. So this interview is great. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I want to ask you a little bit more now about the relationship between the influencer and the brand. How does it work? Like, how did it start for you? Did brands started to approach you? You mentioned it a little bit already earlier, but did brands started to approach you, or did you work actively to get noticed by brands?
Cool. So I love that. Before asking this question, you mentioned like pushing content, how people used to push content. So I think that the relationship between brands and influencers, it's specifically along that line. So I think brands usually push content and influencers pull. Like what influencers do is that they have good content, so they pull the people in, they pull the people. Instead of pushing, they do so many amazing things that that people come. So I think that's a big difference. Like brands and companies, they used to push people, and we bring people to understand what we're doing. So along that line, as I mentioned, I started with a concept. Like the concept became more popular, and with time, brands started approaching me. But at the beginning, brands started approaching you with their own. They ask like, hey, because I'm approaching, I am that powerful in the conversation, so I want you to do this. So I think that the roles are super different. Like both things would happen. Like they will approach me, and I would approach. Something that is super important is that the fact that brands start approaching me make me understand that brands wanted this.
Right.
And because I was able to understand that, is that I start creating like better presentations to organize my numbers, and then I start approaching brands. So this might sound super crazy or weird or whatever, but I've been doing it for more than 5 years, and I'm super happy with the results. What I really do is that I write on PowerPoint like a dream, one thing that I really want to do, and I think I cannot that is too far from me.
Okay.
And in the next page, I write all of the companies that could sponsor me in order to make that dream become a reality. And what I do is that I start approaching them. At the beginning, I had to approach them from zero, like on Twitter and everything. And I have this quote that is like, if you receive a no, then go up. So I don't know if the marketing assistant will say no, I will go to the marketing to the marketing director, and the marketing director say no, I will go to the president. And it was usually the highest person, the president. They will always answer in Twitter. Like out of 10, 2 will answer, but those 2 were enough to have sponsorship to do like the really big activity. So I think that being really naive and just asking without thinking about rejection and all of that, or how far these people are from me, was ideal. But definitely people, brands will start approaching after you accelerate, after the wheel is it's rotating. But at the beginning, you need to approach brands.
Yeah, understood. Lots of value here. I had follow-up questions, but I don't even know where to start.
I think it's better if I explain like one of the events or projects or things that I do.
Ahead.
So like for you guys, I've done more than 45 projects different so it's like 6 or 7 or 8 events a year. For example, one of them was like, I really wanted to study university in America because I wanted to, but that's really expensive, and I am from a Central American country, so I didn't have the money. So what I did is that I did a presentation in which I was able to be an undercover student, and I was going to create content as an undercover student for the university, and then the university was going to be able to use that content to attract Latin American students to apply to that university. And this was like before, like on my third year doing it. So I wasn't as big in social media as I am right now. And because the idea was good, the concept was good, like undercover student, because the concept was good, they didn't really care about the fan base, because at the end what I was doing is that I was providing content to them. So I created that presentation, I sent that to 20 different universities in all America, and one said yes, and they fully sponsored everything, and that's how I end up living in New York in a university where I met Danielle, which is going to be my wife. So my point is like I just create an idea that I really, really want to do, make a list of different brands that would sponsor that. The other one is like doing a whole country, riding a bicycle. I did that with Under Armour, Gatorade, Red Bull. There are also ideas like I grab graffiti artists and they create comic books to improve blood donation in Central America as a social movement. My point is that there's so many different concepts that I've been doing, but because get off the couch is think out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. That concept is like the umbrella that embodies all of the...
Okay, got it. I really love the fact that you have a dream, you want to put it on paper, and though it seems unreachable, you go for it and you find the right brands to do it with you. All right, so would you have any advice for brands who are looking to start working with influencers like you or other influencers? So first, how do you find the right influencer for your brand?
I think that like the most important thing is like to ignore the numbers and react more to the call to actions. Like there are underdogs influencers over there, like people that they only have like 5,000 or 3,000 followers, but what they do is so relevant to the brand, mm-hmm. that I do think brands should encourage that, like should value that a lot. So that's one thing really important. I also think like at the end of the day, working with an influencer is not like working with a machine. It's not like it's like working with another human. Mm-hmm. And usually us as influencers, we receive a lot of, hey, can you do this free, and things along this line. So I do think that the psychological part of it is super important. There are so many influencers that they're able to say no because they receive so many opportunities, that I do think like be as organic as possible, watch some underdogs, think what are the values of your brand and who in social media is doing that. But I think that social media influencer marketing should be more of a relationship than if you're seeing it as a magazine. Like, hey, I'm gonna pay you $2,000 for you to upload 4 pictures of my content, mm-hmm. like a magazine. It will probably, like the influencer could say yes, but most of the time he will do it just treating you as a magazine, like understanding that relationship and doing super cold. But in the other hand, if you organically, like you see that there is a really good relationship and they will do more things, like cooler things about it, then it makes a lot of sense. For example, like I was invited through an airline for the first flight with full internet the whole flight. Okay. And they invited me to do a live Instagram on the plane while I was flying from Germany to Central America. Okay. And I really wanted to do that. I thought it was so fun, yeah. That price-wise, it wasn't as important how much they were going to pay me. And because I wanted to do that was something really fun. So at the end of the day, I created more content than what they ask. And that is the feeling that you guys want to do. Like, if you want an influencer, think, what can you give to them? And if they're so aligned that they're excited of doing it. Right. And I think that's the relationship that you really want.
Right, yeah. Finding the influencer who is aligned with what you are doing, who is almost already passionate about what you're doing. I think that's very key, and you said it perfectly. And I love the fact that soon we will have Wi-Fi on every plane. Exactly. That's very important. So, yes, can you give an idea of how much influencers charge? Like, is there a kind of logic between the size of the audience and the price they would charge for your services? How does it work?
Okay, so let's divide influencers into 2 things. Like, one, they're influencers that are like they create awareness. They're beautiful, their Instagrams are beautiful, and they have a lot of numbers. We can put like celebrities, models, and people that have 6-pack and look amazing there. Or luxury travel bloggers and things along that line. So those will be like the celebrity influencers. Right. And they usually use different platforms like, I don't know, FameMeet, Social Blade. Like, there's so many platforms online that they will throw an algorithm and they will tell you how much you should charge, and they will double or triple that because they will work for things that look beautiful. Okay. I think that if you are not in the high end and luxury, and I hope that most of you are not, I think, no. Then those are the influencers for you. In my opinion, this is personal. just showing the product in a way like that is not the best way of marketing.
Okay, yeah.
So then we have the other type of influencers in which they involve more like their own personal thoughts, what they like, what they dislike. It's not about the aesthetics or the beauty of it, but more about like the emotional side of it, which I think that I am one of those, and there are a lot of other influencers like that. And with them, the important thing is like it depends a lot in how aligned it is with your brand. Like for example, like I'm going to be part of a camp of like snowboarding in Denver or something new that's going to happen next month, and I really want to do that. So for that, I'm going to charge way less than what I would charge like for a food company that I don't really like. I love cooking, so I don't really need to go to that restaurant all the time and things along that line. So price ranges vary a lot. If you want an algorithm, if you want a response or something like that, the influencers that work with that style are not the type of influencers that I recommend. But yeah, like I don't know, I have a friend that he has 100,000 followers and he charges $1,000 per picture. But I think like doing this algorithm or ranges or things along that line, it's not ideal.
Okay.
What you really want is a connection, because influencers, like there's so many out there. I don't know, like I make a living out of it. I've been doing it for more than 5 years. I bought an apartment in my home country just with social media. I have less than 50,000 followers, which means that I'm not the biggest. But my point is like I've charged different in a lot of different cases. Like one pictures versus 10 pictures variate. So in a short, like it's enough to make a really good living out of it. But in my opinion, if it's not variating and you ask an influencer, hey, how much would you charge? And they send you, I charge this, exactly. That's such a cold relationship that I would not recommend it for influencer marketing.
Okay, great insights. Well, I'm finished with my question. I'm curious about some of the projects you have in the pipeline. Can you tell us what's next for you?
Yeah, of course. So I started realizing that I received a lot of questions in my social media, like, hey, how can I do this? How can I do this? In two main topics, like, how do I travel so much? How do I find sponsorships? Like, how do I travel and how can I make money while traveling? So something along that line. So one of my biggest concepts in life is like, I want people that they don't enjoy their job to quit. I want people that they are not happy what they're doing, like they to quit. So every content or everything that I do, I'm creating tools for them to quit in the most reasonable way possible, you know. So I created a school, an online academy, in which I teach people, like I answer, like when a lot of people ask too many things, I launch a course on that topic. So I already have two, like one is like the first 5 steps to know how to monetize your concept, because I think like I work with concepts and there's so many ways of making money out of a concept, as weird as it is. And the other one is like how to find sponsorships, because I do have like an ABC of how to find sponsorships, because I think that's my strength. So that academy, which is in Spanish, De Pasión a Proyecto, which means like from passion to project, is like my main focus. But I also do like consultant or mentoring in English and Spanish, and anyone can contact me. But the most, like, I don't know, like I don't want to finish this like doing branding of myself. No, what I really want to encourage everyone that is looking at this is like, guys, please define like your concept. Like, what's the concept that is going to have the most important role in your social media? If the concept is not well defined, you're making things tougher for you.
Right. All right, and it's all right to speak about your projects. That's why I ask you the question. So don't be ashamed of promoting what you're doing.
So I'm gonna bluntly promote another thing.
Do it, go for
the other project that I'm doing, because as I mentioned, like my concept is to provide tools for people to quit their job if they're not happy. I'm doing the marketing part of Gig Nomads, which is a new platform we just launched actually last night. So Gig Nomads is a platform in which people can get a gig that they can find something to do and earn money while doing it while traveling. So the idea is like, if you arrive to Chiang Mai in Thailand, you will open the app in your phone and you will receive, hey, there are so many things here that you can do and earn some money while doing it. So that's the platform. It's Gig Nomads. Go to Gig Nomads webpage or text me my social media. Like my social media is Andrés Piñeiro Coen, or I think you will see things down. I have no idea.
Yeah, we will put. We are putting all the content and information.
Perfect. So text me, ask questions. I answer 100% of the comments. So not comments, of private messages. So definitely contact me, whether to Gig Nomads or to your want to find a concept that it makes sense for you guys. wide open.
Right. Well, thank you very much. I have one last question though that I ask to all my guests on this show is what would be your advice for a change maker, someone who wants to live his life differently and who wants to, as you say, quit his job, quit the 9 to 5, or maybe not. Maybe he's happy with his job. What is your advice for a change maker? What should you do to make the world a little bit better?
I think that you have to define the role fear is going to have in your life. Like, don't ignore fear. Don't ignore what you are afraid of. I think that you should value a lot what you're afraid of and try to flip it around. So just define the role that fear has in your life. In my opinion, something that changed my life was whenever I was afraid of something that will trigger an action to overcome that fear. That's how I started doing something different every day. Okay. I started doing, like, if I was afraid of something, I would do that. If I was afraid of something, I would do that. So the only advice is, like, define what's the role that fear is going to take in your life, because you only define that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Andrés, for all these valuable insights. Thank you for being on the show, for coming here this morning. It's very great. Thank you. I wish you, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, all the success. I think you deserve it. You're dynamic entrepreneur and perfect. Yeah, you're a change maker. Thanks. So thank you, guys. You can join and follow Andrés on Instagram. The link will be here in the comments or even on the screen. So yeah, go ahead, go for it. Thank you for watching this show. This was Learn from the Best, and see you next week.
Boom.
Thank you. Perfect.
Super cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.